everyone, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today I'm sitting down with the cast of Booksmart. The film follows two overachieving best friends looking to cram 4 years of partying into one night before graduation. It's a hilarious and honest film that doesn't shy away from the hilarity of high school, the complexity of female friendships, and the awkwardness of hookups. Take a look.
Do you know how many girls are gonna be up your vagina next year? Every time I come to visit you, you're gonna be scissoring a different girl.
Dude, scissoring is not a thing.
Don't knock it until you've tried it. Don't knock it until you've tried it.
What if I don't use my hands?
You can make yourself come using only your mind? No. That's like the one thing my mind can't do.
No, I use just other stuff.
A little elephant?
No, stop.
That weird crochet pig.
My grandma gave me that. You don't tell me what it is, you know I'm gonna get it. It's a panda. It's a panda, okay?
What happened to her eye?
That fell off way before anything happened between us.
We missed out. We didn't party because we wanted to focus on school and get into good colleges.
And it worked.
We are not one-dimensional. We are smart and fun. Woo!
Excuse me. Oh.
We have to go to a party tonight.
What?
What took them 4 years, we are doing in one night!
No.
Not acceptable.
This is not okay.
Who allowed you to be this beautiful?
Who allowed you to be this beautiful?
Who allowed you to take my breath away?
Prepare to get bashed! Not in like a violent way, completely consensual bash. Prepare to get consensually bashed. I'll say, I'll have him change it.
Don't move, don't inhale.
My.
What the fuck is this?
Ask the questions!
Tonight is your night.
Oh, you're bringing Ling Ling.
Oh, make her feel good.
Make it stop.
Please don't put your face on the face.
Not on the head.
Make thy plans to attend the drama department's summer program, Shakespeare in the Park. King Lot.
It's what we did in my summer program last year in Barcelona, when I lived in Barcelona.
Everyone, please help me welcome Olivia Wilde, Kaitlyn Dever, Beanie Feldstein, Noah Galvin, Jessica Elbaum, Diana Silver, Katie Silberman, Molly Gordon, and Austin Crute. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I feel like I don't even need to do an interview because if you watch that trailer, you know you have to see this movie.
That's right.
I mean, it was such a joy for me. I was smiling from beginning to end. I'm not exaggerating. I just sat there like the whole time because this film manages to be so modern and so many places of connection. It's political, but not in an over-the-top way. It's the way that politics are naturally a part of this generation.
Yes.
And the way you capture that is so amazing. So, Olivia, this is your directorial debut. Yes. You nailed it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, how could I not? How could I not?
But I read that this process, you were able to make a film that you always kind of wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
So take me through this experience, this being your first film directing.
Well, first of all, I wanted to make a movie that reminded me of the movies that made me want to get into this business. I fell in love with film through films like The Breakfast Club and Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and movies that not only made me love movies, but made me love being young. It made being young feel exciting, and it made me just thrilled to be liberated. And I think this movie is celebrating that time in your life when you are free and you should be unencumbered by judgment and stop judging others. You know, we're throwing up a story that is aspirational in its depiction of life, where there are no villains. It is all about, complexity and kindness. And I just wanted to help be a part of telling that story.
Yeah. And of course, telling that story, you need the script. And Katie, I know that the script went through a couple different iterations, and you were a writer on the project. So take me through when it finally clicked. What was it that finally we were like, we're done?
From the moment I spoke with Olivia, who was already attached to direct, and Jessica, who was producing it, her energy and vision was so contagious and kind of like immediately exciting. I wanted to watch the movie, let alone work on it. So I was like, I'll work craft services. I'll do whatever you want. I'll be a part of it in any way. But it was also so exciting because she knew how intense high school feels, and she was like, we need to make a movie that reflects how heightened that is, and not patronize to young people and be like, isn't it cute how intense they get and how much they feel, but to recognize that it is that intense. And she kept saying high school is war, and that was so recognizable for me, because as an adult you try and forget it, but it is like that when you're young. And so clicking into that feeling and realizing that she was going to reflect so authentically what it feels like to be a young woman and what it feels like to be a wonderful friend and to have a wonderful friend. That was so exciting. And then I think it clicked to the final level once this cast was put together, because then regardless of what you had on the page, we knew they were going to not only elevate everything we had, but it would evolve to them. And so the characters would become infused with their voices and their brilliance and their genius and their comedy, and it would just get better and better every day. And so that, like, the first day when everyone was on set, it was like, oh, this is great, because everyone's going to think it's funny and it's all them. And then I get to come talk about it.
Let's talk about that casting process, Jessica and Olivia. What was that like? How did you kind of narrow down who would be the voices for this movie?
I mean, I have to say, we were really lucky in that we got to cast exactly who we wanted in the movie. And I think that's such an exciting process. You know, we had Allison Jones, the world's greatest casting director, helping us discover a cast full of exciting, authentic, hilarious, fresh, intelligent actors. And it was just such an exciting process. You know, I remember the first time Jess and I talked about who should play Molly, because Kaitlyn was already attached as Amy when I came on board, which is the reason I wanted to do this, because I was like, oh, they have good taste. I'm on board. And I remember when we were like, it has to be Beanie Feldstein. We have to get Beanie Feldstein. And it was the most exciting day of my life was when I got the call, like, Beanie is in. After we had met and we had discussed the project, and I knew when we get these two together, we have an iconic friendship here. We have a duo that is just so exciting, and I really relish the opportunity to be a part of their journey. And then at the same for assembling the cast. Every time I met one of these guys, I was like, are you kidding me? How are you all so good? I swear, like, actors have gotten a lot better. So it was so fun. But we just had the best time, like, dreaming it all up.
But the greatest part is that Beanie doesn't even, I mean, now she knows, but her face was there even before the casting process. Like, Olivia, when she pitched this, Beanie was in her lookbook. It was like, this is it, this has to be it. And it speaks to the power of Olivia and just sort of the commitment and dedication. Like, everything she put out happened. Like, she manifested
that shit, yeah.
Yeah.
The secret works.
Vision boards, everything.
Oh my God.
Make it work. And Beanie, you really were as soon as I watched, I was like, oh, this is perfect casting. Because Molly is so dynamic. I mean, your character is so strong and she's such a clear vision. When did she click for you? When did you really understand who she was?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was just like in my apartment in New York, had no idea this was going on. Now, like a year later, they're like, you were on the wall, you were in the vision packet. I'm like, what? I was just like going to Dwayne Reed. But I think that's so sweet. Thank you. And Molly was like Katie's writing and Olivia's vision for this friendship, this true, deep, loving friendship was so beautifully on the page, but I was really intimidated by Molly. She is a character that is sort of unlike anything I'd ever encountered or been asked to, inhabit. She's very, very unrelenting, and she is headfast and headstrong. That's what I meant to say.
Headfast. I love this word.
And I think that was really intimidating to me the way that I cracked her was that there are a few people in my life who are incredibly intense human beings. And sometimes when you're with them, you're like, that's a lot. It's a lot of energy. But because I know them so well, I realize that their intensity comes from their insecurity. And it comes from their vulnerability that they're putting on armor to cover up. And so once I realized that alone with Amy, Molly could be so loose and so warm and so silly and gross and all of those other things. And then you see her at school with the rest of the class, and she literally has that wool blazer in June, armor on, and is, walking through the halls with this like really intense stubbornness, and it's because she's insecure. And so once I kind of Olivia gave me permission to celebrate both sides of her and explore both sides of her, I felt, okay, I got her now.
Yeah, definitely. And Kaitlyn, Amy is her like ride or die. And what I love about her is that she really is like living in her truth at an age that is so hard to do that. Whether it's her feminism, her sexual orientation, she wants to go make tampons. Like she's just doing what feels true and authentic to her. So what is it like to get to dive into a character like that who's just so sort of like ahead of her time, really?
Yeah, I feel like she's really, she really represents a lot of my friends that I am hanging out with, that, you know, a girl from this generation. I don't know, she's this time. I don't know if she's ahead of her time. She's just very 2019 to me. And I had never been sent a role like this before. She's so intelligent and so strong and very dedicated. But she's also very sweet and kind, and I don't think we've ever seen that for a leading character as a woman, and she's also really, really funny. And her comedy is coming from her intelligence and their banter between each other. But everything really clicked for me. I mean, I was sort of like I was attached to play Amy, you know, kind of loosely 4 years ago, and I was just like hanging out, waiting for the movie to be made. I was like, guys, where's my Molly? Like, I didn't, you know, I hadn't met Beanie yet. I hadn't met Olivia yet. And I think it really all clicked for me when I met Olivia, and she, you know, she told me her ideas for these girls, and she had so much respect for them. And she just wanted to tell this story in a new and fresh and different way. And it was just incredible. And then when I met Beanie, it was just like, okay, I got this. We got this. It's going to be so good. I knew immediately.
Did you guys know each other before?
No.
That is startling.
We were
Take
ships
me
in the
through building this chemistry, because, I mean, that's really
building.
why...
I see what you did there.
Build at building. That's what we do here. We build things. Take me through building that dynamic and how important it was for you to make sure you got that right.
Well, we always say we kind of were just like, I don't even, you said you saw me at
Love
a film
at first
festival.
sight.
Yeah, it was really, you saw me at a film festival. We had never met, and then we met for the very first time. We were both already cast to play Molly and Amy, so it was like, this puzzle piece is finally...
A little bean-shaped puzzle piece
A little
came in.
bean-shaped puzzle piece just going right into that puzzle. And it was it was amazing. It was truly incredible. I've you know, Olivia said we hugged for about 45 minutes when we first met. Proceeded to hold hands the entire lunch. As though we were engaged, and we
were announcing to Olivia that we were to be wed.
No, but we just had so much respect for Olivia, and we were just like, tell us what you want us to do, and we'll do it. You know, we'll be there, because we also had such equal passion for these two girls that you know, I almost say we had no choice. We were like, we're in this together, no matter what.
Yeah, and the vision is that clear and supportive, and the writing is that good. You just want to honor it. And so we knew that we were making up for lost time, because Molly and Amy had been inseparable for over a decade. And so Olivia very like casually at lunch was like, maybe you guys should live together. And we looked at each other and we were like, let's do it. 20 minutes into knowing each other, we were like fully roomies. And we lived together through the entire rehearsal process, which was like a month, which is a testament to Olivia's incredible like carving out time for us all to really get to rehearse. And then by the time we were shooting, we were so trusting and so genuinely together and on this journey as a duo. And the movie wouldn't have worked without that. And our true trust, our true love. I mean, like, she's my sister for life.
Yeah. And you can tell there's this scene where you guys kind of get into it. And I was like nervous. I was like, they can't fight. Like, I need them to be friends.
That scene was so heartbreaking for us to do. It's the only scene we hadn't rehearsed for people who haven't seen it. It's a scene where Molly and Amy get into this very heartbreaking fight. And it was the one scene that we didn't go over. And we, you know, Olivia wanted to do it all in one shot. And we were like, okay, we were kind of nervous. But it was because we had created this trust. We were like, all right, well, if we mess up, we want to do this for Olivia. We're not gonna go into coverage. We're just gonna do it in one shot. And it was great. It was awesome.
I do like the choice to sort of mute some of it because I couldn't handle anymore. And I was like, I don't want to hear them say mean things to each other. So that was a really nice touch, I think. Because you almost don't need to hear it. You know what's happening.
You project your own experiences onto it. So much of the movie is a Rorschach test. It's you experiencing either your current high school life, your adolescent life, or reflecting upon it. You know, there's so much we all went through, and we all had a friend who had our backs. And that person is a really important part of our identities, all of us, even if we don't speak to that person anymore. That was your first soulmate who knew you better than your parents, who helped you find yourself, who allowed you to be vulnerable. So I knew in the moment where there is this breakdown of communication and they've lost the ability to connect and they start freaking out at each other, we can all project our own worst, most painful arguments onto that and feel it more intensely than if you could hear the specifics of the conversation, probably.
And in the relationships, you know, part of their journey is trying to like find hookups. And Diana, you have a really fun, awkward.
That's
love
spoiler.
scene.
Spoiler.
Well, I didn't say. I just said you. Are
You.
also
We
on
don't know
this
with
journey.
who.
Yeah, she's on.
Could
this
be with
journey.
anybody.
They're teenagers.
So true.
Teenagers are looking to hook up.
I'm in this movie.
So just for you being a part of a scene that shows how kind of awkward hookups can be for everyone in high school, why do you think that was an important angle or story to tell?
I don't know if anyone here has ever had a first hookup, but it's extremely awkward. Usually, you don't look sexy. Well, at least I don't think I looked sexy while doing it. And I feel like so often in films we see these like romantic scenes and it's just going really, really well. And then in real life, you're like, why is my romantic endeavor not looking as well as like that, like Tom Cruise and his lover in that movie, you know what I mean? And I just feel like it's just so important I'm just glad I got to be part of a scene that like truthfully displays how awkward and exciting and intimate, you know, a hookup is with whoever it is, whether it's you just met this person or you've known them for a while, like, especially in high school, you're figuring out your own body, you're figuring out their body, it's a lot at once, you know, and things can go wrong.
Yeah, the honesty of that scene, I was like, oh God, that makes me feel so much better about my first experience. You know?
You're doing it right. You're fine.
If nothing else, this movie accomplishes showing the truth that the most difficult part of hooking up is getting someone's shoes off. And the Converse are
shoes
very
and socks.
difficult.
Tight
pants and Converse makes it hard to get down.
Graceful, no matter how
Sweaty
you play
jeans,
it.
like trying to take off your like sweaty jeans because you're nervous.
Yeah.
You're like they're just sticking to you. And
It's time we acknowledge the truth.
yeah.
That sex positive theme, though, is really throughout the film. Molly, your character, is somebody who I feel like is so badass, and she's just like owning herself, her sexuality, her identity in school. So, what was it like to play a high schooler who was like very kind of sure of herself and confident in those areas?
It was awesome. Yeah. It's truly nothing like me. I feel like I was a little bit more insecure about my sexuality. So this was such a gift to get to play someone who was incredibly smart and incredibly sexual, because those things aren't mutually exclusive. You can have both. And it was incredible. And I think this generation specifically, because I'm a little bit older than the people in this film, like really own their sexuality. And I hope that this movie will inspire more women to do that. Yeah,
that was the takeaway for me too. Like you said, it's a movie of the now, of 2019. And when you talk to high schoolers now, they're just so much smarter about everything than I ever was. Noah and Austin, you're like the other dynamic duo.
We'd like to think so.
Yeah, in the film. Every time you guys came on the screen, I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? What are they gonna say? Where are we gonna go? What kind of camp and theater are we bringing? So how much of that was in the script? How much of it did you guys kind of play? And
No, all of it is Katie Silberman.
Oh, yeah.
All of it is
absolutely.
Katie Silberman.
She's
I think a lot of
genius.
people think that a lot of this movie is improv, and there is a little bit of improv in this movie, but I'd say the majority of like all the funny lines that people love came out of Katie Silberman's brain. It's really, really true. Yeah.
There are many, many lines though that evolved and we did together, and it was so much fun for me because every day it was also like, what else are they going to say? Because I'm going to love it. So it was wonderful.
It was a beautifully, beautifully collaborative set. It really was.
so you were on set every day.
Oh, yeah.
So that's cool. Were you kind of rewriting in the moment and sort of
Very
going
much
with the flow?
so. I was thrust into that karaoke scene pretty much like the night before.
Yes.
That morning we learned the song. We didn't really know how much of it was going to be used, you know.
I once I saw Noah in action, I was like, I need him in more. I need him in more of my movie. I'm putting him in as many scenes as possible, and thrust him into that karaoke scene. Was like, do you know Alanis Morissette's "You Oughta Know"? Because you ought to know it right now because you're singing it now. Action!
Pretty much.
Nailed it.
I don't even really need to ask this because I feel like I know the answer. But what was the vibe like on the set? Because there are some really big, playful scenes where you're all together at a party. Or what was it like shooting those scenes?
Have you seen her? It's like an embodiment of her spirit. Was the set? It was the most warm, bright, giving, collaborative, just nurturing.
Emblematic of like Katie and Olivia's relationship too at the helm of this project. It was just
There was a whole lot of love.
Yeah.
You know, I've spent 17 years on sets. I have been on great sets and I have been on terrible sets. And I feel like I've learned enough to know how to create an environment conducive to the best possible performances. And that's what it's all about. You know, it's a really hard thing to be an actor and to come onto a set and to be vulnerable and to relax and to kind of hypnotize yourself to like enter into an alternate reality. We act like it's so easy, and yet a set is like a construction site, and it's very loud and very hectic and very difficult to relax within. And so I knew it was my responsibility to create a set that I had always wanted to be on. I wanted to make them feel supported and loved and to have fun. This process should be fun. We get to play for a living. And yet there's this attitude about movies where it's like, here we go to work. Ugh. It's like, really? Come on. We're not like minors, you know, we are telling stories, and we should be so lucky. We are so lucky. Yeah. So let's just enjoy it. And the spirit of the movie was one that is at its core very kind. And that was what it felt like on set because of everybody's kind of shared frequency. And it was also a truly democratic set. These actors have so much respect for the crew members working in every single position. And I really was just moved by that mutual respect and love. And, you know, it meant that when we would accomplish really difficult scenes, the crew would cry, would clap, you know, we were all in it together.
What's one of those scenes that sort of got the crew really into it?
The fight scene we just spoke of was one where, you know, grown men weeping in every corner. And then there's a dance fantasy sequence. It was incredibly technically difficult to pull off. And the entire crew burst into applause. There were so many moments like that. It was really exciting that everybody was invested.
I have to know who came up with the idea to make a mask out of your face or out of your hair.
That was,
Can you tell me where that was born? Because I was like, this is genius. Can I try it?
It was so fun, especially with these two actresses, because the heart of it being that they're brilliant but inexperienced, and the idea, we knew that there was an original idea where they had actual masks from a previous adventure they had gone on, and they were using real masks, which is why they felt comfortable enough to try and take a man hostage. And then when we didn't have those masks anymore, and we were like, would they still do this if they thought they could see their faces? And we realized the gift of being a woman is you're born with a mask, and you just tie it in front of your face, and you're ready to go.
That scene also has Michael Patrick O'Brien, and there's so many amazing like surprises, like Lisa Kudrow, who we saw in the trailer. I think I heard Maya Rudolph in there.
Good ear.
I know Maya. And Will Forte, like, what was it like getting like for you guys to get to play with all these like comedy greats? Jason Sudeikis, yeah.
The anticipation of meeting Lisa Kudrow for the both of us was really just...
still not over it.
We're still not really over it.
It was like the scene in Apollo 13 where they're waiting to see if the ship will come through. Like, it was the 10 minutes when she was on her way and they were waiting for her to walk into the room. The tension was extraordinary.
I mean, she's an icon.
She's an icon. We were like kids in a candy store getting to watch her.
All we do is quote the comeback to each other.
Well,
I got it.
Well, I got it.
And we just
see
actually couldn't take it in that we were like, it's happening.
Beanie has a photo of her on her laptop, or a sticker on her laptop.
The sticker of her face.
We're obsessed. We're obsessed with her.
Yeah, we're obsessed.
Before we go to questions, I want to ask each of you, what will be the most memorable moment for you from making this film? Because I really do think it's going to be a film that is part of our culture for a while, and that a lot of young females specifically will be able to connect to for a very long time. So for you, when you look back on this experience, what will be kind of the thing that you remember the most? We can start with you if you want, Noah.
I don't know. Me, Beanie, and Molly did an interview a couple weeks ago, and Beanie brought up the fact that like she was like, and we're going to watch this in 20 years, and it's a little snapshot of her life. And I was like, oh my God. I had never thought of that before. But like, it's a beautiful thing. I've made so many friends in this film, and I'll get to like watch it in 10, 20 years and get to just like look back and think of all the wonderful people and joyous friendships and partnerships I got to, you know.
Stole my answer right out.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I mean, you admitted to it at least.
I did.
Just so nonchalantly with your arm around me. Like, so Beanie one said. No, but it's true. It's like I came into this project with some of my best friends in the world. Molly and I have been best friends for over a decade. So seeing us on screen together, like my brain still can't comprehend it. But then gaining so many lifelong people. Like I looked at Katie last night and I was like, you are my family. Like I will jump in front of a car for you. And to get to... It's true. But to get to have something that you love so much that you made with those people, there's just like, you couldn't ask for anything better.
I think we're all going to have the same answer because I think it was such a... I will always remember this movie. Making this movie was like the best summer I've ever had. It really, really was. And every single one of these people are just the most extraordinary, talented people, and I just like can't imagine what it would have been like without any of them. And really just like getting to do it with Beanie and get to hold her hand the whole time, and it was our doing a first lead for both of us. It was just like kind of a big deal, and the fact that we got to do it together, I'll always remember that forever.
I mean, I have the same answer, but I'll add to it that in terms of a singular moment, I will never forget when we premiered at South by Southwest, and it was the first time we really showed it to a bunch of people outside of our little edit suite, and it was 1,100 people in the audience, and we finished the film, and I kind of couldn't feel anything. I was so nervous. I was completely numb. And then at the Q&A afterwards, a young woman stepped to the microphone, and she said, "I feel seen." Whew. And it made me feel like, oh, I don't care what happens now. Like we made someone feel seen, and we made them feel less alone, and we made them laugh, and that's it. So that moment I won't forget.
Beautiful. Jessica?
I won't forget the first day I saw Olivia on set directing, because for me, I am so lucky and proud and grateful. You know, we started as friends, and then we were working together, and in that process, working together on something else, I was like, God, Olivia, you are a director, right? And she's like, yeah, I would like to find the right thing. And I gave her the script, and she pitched on it. And for me, like, as a producer, all you ever want is somebody to take your project and bring it to life in a way that you could have never even imagined. Like, she blew my mind. And then seeing her on set and having it all, like, really come together was, like, something I'll never forget.
Wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, I mean, what everyone's been saying, it's just being on that set was like just so magical. It was such a dream to work with such talented young people that are going to have such incredible careers, and to have just picked something up from every single person, because as you can just tell, everyone is such an individual and so secure and so kind and talented. And I don't know, it's just like when you're around people like that, you're like, it gives you permission to also be yourself. So that was something that was really special.
Yes, I mean, I'd second and third everything everyone said. There's so many specific moments. I mean, I laughed harder on this experience than I have in my entire life, probably combined. But I think I will remember, like, it's such a truly singular experience for it to be a group of people this wonderful and who love each other this much. And every day when the day started and people saw each other, and you're coming to work, so like it's like going into an office and being like, hello, hello. And every day the squeals and hugs and like jumping on each other, because we were so excited to get to do it for another day, and to watch Olivia kind of lead us in this process that was my favorite part, is like when everyone got there and every day we were like, we get to do it again, like, which was really, really magical.
Yeah, everything that everyone said. I feel like, I've known both of these people for a really long time, and getting to watch everyone else fall in love with them makes me sob. And also just like Silberman and Jessica and Olivia, like watching them lead, like that's just who I want to be in my life. So that was the best.
I will say that my
My personal most memorable moments, I actually have two. One, the clam. That was at that time I was graduating NYU, so like I was doing essays and take home exams in the clam.
Yeah, Austin in his gown, in his sparkly gown, like trying to finish a paper in like a full beat and a gown in the backyard of this house.
Doing that, I'll be like, he's dead! And then like, when they went on their scene, and
Wait, what was your paper about?
My paper was something I think about, I don't know, I'm gonna ask one of these professors over here. NYU's right there. It was about something I don't
Doesn't matter 'cause
remember.
you
Y'all know how
graduated.
I finessed it obviously because I don't remember what it was. And the second moment was graduation when we pulled like a whole song out of our rectum. Crockett will rock it. If you stay till like the end credits, it's like
the very, very
the
end.
very, very end, you can hear the buffoonery
Hear a
that was
little
happening at the
improv
time.
song we wrote, a little school chant.
I had left the theater and I heard I went back in. Just so you know how seriously I took Booksmart.
First, they did an incredible a cappella rendition from Rent of, what's that song called? Oh,
Seasons of Love.
Seasons of Love.
It was too expensive.
It was the most expensive. 10 seconds of that is over $100,000. And I was like, thanks, guys. I can't afford your genius. But luckily, they improvised their own original work, which is there.
It was beautiful. I know we have a couple of questions, so who do we have first?
Hi, guys. I just wanted to say, like, I've never laughed so hard. And I just feel like the movie was so relatable. And, like, during most of the movie, I was like, damn, like, that happened to me. So my question is for Beanie and Kaitlyn. How was the transition from going to playing, like, movies like Lady Bird, which is a coming-of-age story, and, like, Beautiful Boy, which is, like, a heavy, like, raw drama, to, like, playing Amy and Molly, which are just high school goofballs?
First of all, gorgeous. This is just. Thank you. Oh my God. I was listening, but also taking it in.
Who gave her permission?
Who gave you permission?
It was so cool.
It was so fun. It was so fun to get to explore how much, specifically with my friendships, how much you can make your friend laugh. And that was just, Olivia gave us permission to really enjoy each other and not hold back the giggles. And so many of them make it into the movie. And just getting to work with Kaitlyn, it was like taking a master class every day. It's true.
Stop that
Her work,
right now.
her work is so deeply rooted and yet so sparklingly funny. And so it was sparkly. You were so sparkly. And it was just like heaven. It was heaven every day.
I have to say the same. It was really, really heaven. I like kind of like going all over the place, but with Booksmart, it was just all about like enjoying Beanie and like being okay with laughing and giggling and being silly and gross. And I just wanted to have like fun with it.
Thank you. Next question.
I got to see the movie on Monday, and it was so incredible. It was really funny and honest. So I have a question for everyone. Were your high school experiences similar to the movie in any way?
Okay, so I'll say mine was kind of like the same and the opposite. Like I was not, like in my school, I went to like a Christian school in Georgia. So we couldn't be doing all of that extra dextra stuff. So it was almost like being in this movie was almost a redo, almost like a second chance to like be in the same position. So I was like in the musical theater. I was kind of like the star. Oh, that's that person of the musical theater. But I wasn't on as extra. And I feel like now I could like shut it off and be like, if I was gonna be my most extra, like, out there self, like reclaiming my time at all times, like who would it be? And it was Alan. So.
Anybody else have a comparison to their high school experience?
I'll take a stab. I feel like I was a little bit like Hope. I was kind of a loner, I wasn't in a clique or a group. I kind of just did my own thing, and I was very similar to Molly and Amy, where I was like school and extracurriculars, and like I gotta get my stuff together. But it was nice because I felt like being on the set, I got to be part of the party for once, and that was really nice.
So sweet. My God. Almost cried like 4 times during this interview.
Welcome to Booksmart. You'll
right?
cry. And laugh, but
Laugh
also
and
cry.
Sometimes that's the same coin,
Yes.
Anybody else want to compare their high school experiences, or we don't want to dig those up?
I'll say that, like, I felt really misunderstood in high school. I think a lot of us have. And this movie is for anybody who's felt misunderstood. People try to put you in boxes, and it's frustrating because you know you're multidimensional. You know you're more than one thing. And that caused me a lot of anxiety. So this movie is part of my way of saying, don't do that anymore. Don't do that to other people, because if you're doing it to other people, you're doing it to yourself. Don't limit yourself.
It's really
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Thank you.
And one more?
Hi, everybody. It's really nice meeting you all. And my question goes out to Olivia Wilde here. Hello. I know. Yeah. I noticed you've directed a few music videos in the past. How has it been different directing a feature film?
Well, music videos are so much fun because they are non-linear, or they can be, and non-literal, and they're a way to really just express yourself. I always liken it to, writing a poem before you write your novel. Like, creating a music video is a way to just kind of have fun and play before you dive into having to actually structure a film and make sure it makes sense. So I love it, and I hope to continue doing it, mostly because I'm a terrible musician, but I love music, so my way of being involved is to shoot music videos. But it really informed the musical process within Booksmart, because I knew that music had to be a big part of this. It was a big part of my adolescence, probably all of ours. And these generational anthems always have soundtracks that allow you to re-experience the emotional journey of the film for years to come. I wanted to create a soundtrack that was at once nostalgic towards my era of high school, but also very current, experiencing and kind of celebrating new artists and visionaries. So I really carried a lot of the lessons I learned from music videos onto the set, and I realized, telling a story through music is a beautiful way to kind of guide someone's emotions. And it wasn't arbitrary. It's not like I threw on a bunch of tracks on this film. I felt very strongly that we needed certain music to honor the work that these guys did. I remember writing to James Murphy of LCD Sound System and saying, Amy needs to rush down the hallway to this song. It has to happen. You are a part of her emotional journey, James Murphy. And it was the same way with, Salt and Peppa, and it was the same way with Perfume Genius. Like, it was an important part of telling the story. So I encourage anyone who's thinking of directing, make a music video. I shot a music video on an iPhone. You can do that too. Anybody can do it. So go for it. You have the tools. Tell a story.
Thank you very much.
I love hearing, thank you. I love hearing your thoughts on the music, because it is something that just felt so organic and brought you into moments, and kind of, high school is music, and so for so many of us. I cannot say enough how much I enjoyed this film. Like you said, I think for people in high school, they'll see themselves. For people who have graduated, you see yourself, and you see maybe things that you wish were different when you were there. And that's a joy to watch, to see how far we've come really as a society, and to see these kids like thriving. So if you guys haven't seen Booksmart and you want to, it hits theaters on May 24th. Please give it up for the cast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.